Well, the United States is entering a new phase of involvement in the Ukraine conflict. Washington signed off an agreement to supply Kiev with lethal weapons. Moscow contends this crosses the line and undermines a 2015 agreement intended to end the fighting. CGTN's Roy Rutenberg reports from Washington.
On the issue of eastern Ukraine, relations haven't really been that good to begin with. Much of the U.S. sanctions against Russia stem from this conflict. Washington has long criticized Moscow over what it says has been its support, material, financial, logistical, of pro-Russian rebels in two eastern Ukraine regions in the Donbass, Luhansk and Donetsk. They've been fighting for either autonomy or total independence from Ukraine. Russia denies it is providing the separatists with weapons. Still, the U.S. has made no effort in the past, nor even now under the Trump administration, to hide which side it supports in this conflict. But Moscow argues that this latest move, the U.S. supplying weapons to Ukraine, undermines the 2015 Minsk agreement to end the fighting.
The United States are, in fact, encouraging the resumption of large-scale bloodshed in Donbass, where the situation is already on the edge due to continued shelling from the Kiev-controlled side. Washington, in fact, becomes an accomplice in the killing of people.
In the past, the U.S. has provided Ukraine with training and support equipment. It's also allowed private companies to sell things like small arms to Ukraine, rifles and such. But under this new provision, Washington says it will provide Kiev with what the U.S. State Department calls, quote, enhanced defensive capabilities. According to unnamed U.S. officials widely quoted in U.S. media, the weapons will include American-made Javelin anti-tank missiles. Trump's predecessor, Barack Obama, reportedly considered selling Ukraine heavier armaments too, but stopped short of doing so. Republicans criticized him for being weak. Trump, too, has faced criticism that he's been too soft on Moscow. So U.S. domestic politics may be a factor in this decision. And also the timing. Last week, Russian officers withdrew from what's known as the Joint Center for Control and Coordination in Ukraine. That's essentially a joint patrol set up under the first Minsk agreement. Many Western countries have called on Russia to rejoin. The U.S.'s actions could be a tactic to pressure Moscow to reverse its decision. Roy Rutenberg, CGTN in Washington.